Okay, we with Rudolph Ottley, one of the many accomplished people from Mova. Again, this exercise is to prove that Mova has accomplished people not only for the district of Mova, but changing the landscape of Trinidad and Tobago as a whole. So, Mr. Ottley, maybe you need to give a little of your background so that people will know your vast knowledge and experience.
First of all, morning, Mr. McGill, and thanks for including me in your list of Mova luminaries, I want to say. It's interesting though that even growing up in the whole geographic place called Mova, where I really born in Chinnapo, we weren't really considered part of Mova for a number of historic and geographic reasons. As a matter of fact, we growing up in Chinnapo in the 60s and 70s, well, mainly the 60s, we always felt that if we were the wayward, outside, neglected, foreign people of this geographic space. And it showed itself in many ways, especially when it came to sports. When we came to Mova, the Mova ground to play a game against a team that is from Mova, like Eagles or Mary Boys or one of those guys, one of those teams. There's always that rivalry, that intense rivalry between the Mova-based team and the Chinnapo-based team. As a matter of fact, the perception from Mova people was that people from Chinnapo, either foreign, the Kayapunians,
I remember that.
They always say they're backward. It's almost like if we like.
And so name is because.
Yes, you always seem like if we immigrants in your own land. So that was an interesting kind of dimension, and I attended Mova EC School, which made things even more challenging. Living in Chinnapo, attending Mova EC School, have to deal with people like Cuthbert James, Braffett, who was my cousin, Kurt and Curtis Braffett and them. And
the family?
Yeah, they were my family. And they having this Mova ideology against Chinnapo people. So it was always my challenge to prove to them that despite being perceived as a minority, we could always do better. So on the cricket field, for example, when we played any Mova team in cricket, it was always my task to make sure I don't get out. But for as long as I could.
And how did that go?
That pretty good. Most times Chinnapo beat or defeated Mova in cricket. Most times.
Yeah.
In football might have been a different story, but in cricket we always excelled. Academically, I attended Mova EC School, and then I won a scholarship to attend Progressive Education Institute and Henry Street in Spain.
Okay.
Then I migrated to Canada in 1970. I spent a decade and about 11 to 12 years in Toronto. During that sojourn up in Toronto, Canada, I really found myself in terms of having to work, having to source my own income, having to spend for myself, having to. I literally grew up on my own, although I was surrounded by a number of family and friends. But it was major, just critical that I found my own space and pursue the things that really interested me at the time. As a result, I went to York University, where I did my first degree, Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and Latin American and Caribbean Studies. Then I went to the Ontario Teachers Education College and did a Bachelor of Education degree. And the third degree I did was a Master's of Science in Education, majoring in vocational guidance and counseling from the Niagara University in Niagara Falls, USA. After completing that and having been contented and satisfied living in Toronto, everything was going pretty good. Enjoying sports with Street Guys Soccer League and players.
A dominant team, no doubt.
The social life was excellent because in those days the black community in Toronto was small. Everyone knew each other. There's a sense of whether you come from Jamaica, Grenada, St. Kitts, or whatever. There's that sense of camaraderie, that Western
Caribbean vibe.
Yeah, that's where we're all in this together. Although on the sporting field, when Jamaica teams play Trinidad teams, there was that intense competitiveness, but all in good fun. And so that was good. I worked a while at the Canadian Manpower and Immigration Center early on. I also worked with the Ontario Etobicoke teachers at Etobicoke College. No, so the Etobicoke Education Facility, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Doing some guidance and counseling. But there was this underlying urge, this underlying drive, this underlying sense of, although I'm in Toronto and Canada, and as I said, enjoying the best of it, there was always that feeling that it wasn't all that it's supposed to be. I always felt that Canada is a great place. I love Canada, but it did not give me that sense of fulfillment, that total sense of being and doing all that I could do. Because I always felt as a migrant in Canada, there were some limitations in terms of my professional aspirations. There were some limitations in terms of my social interaction with different people.
Limitations.
There are some limitations and some certain spheres of my life which I feel, given the fact that I was a migrant and a black migrant in Canada, I would not be able to readily achieve it. I could have achieved it, but I think it would have had to
work
greater effort. And combined with the weather, which I've never loved, it's one of those defining times and items that have really moved me out of Canada was the weather. And basically because I'm an outdoor person. It used to be heart-rendering to be locked up literally between, let's say, from September or late October to May the next year.
Mr. Aldwyn, you seem to be rubbing it in, you know. I still have to deal with those other events. Yeah.
You know, that I really had a real challenge with that. I could, whether as try as I may, try to be involved in sports.
Yes, stuff.
Try to be involved in winter games. I mean, it just didn't. So with that sense of unfulfillment, I applied for a job that was advertised in the Toronto papers for a council position in Trinidad. And I went to the interview in Ottawa, and I got the job to come back as a guidance officer, and part of the arrangement was that it would be for 3 years, and they would assist in bringing down my items, my furniture, whatever. And it was really a motivating factor for me to come back and at least try and experience that dream of living in Trinidad. And with the feeling though that if after 3 years it doesn't work, I always had the option of returning to Canada. But once I settled in, because the first year was challenging in Trinidad, we adjusted to a number of things. The social life, the academic life, the political life, even the family interconnectedness was challenging coming back. But after getting married on my return and decided, well, my wife and I will start a family down here because my daughter was born in Canada in August of 1981. Yeah, and therefore we started from here. And after the 3-year contract was up, and we analyzed everything that went on, it was a decision that it didn't go bad after all. And from that to now, I have remained and continue to strive and get more involved in the cultural sphere. I began judging calypsos. I began writing and researching calypsos.
And you have a calypso tent too?
I have my own calypso tent. The only all-female calypso tent in the world.
In the world?
In the world.
In the world.
Not the only calypso tent. The only all-female calypso tent called the Divas Calypso Cabaret International. It was started in 2004 and we continue up to today. One of the rationales for starting that organization was that in 2003 I did a lecture at UE, Department of Gender Affairs, and the discussion was the lack of information and history on women in calypso. It was almost as if they felt women don't exist in calypso.
You did a book prior to the establishing the tent, right?
Yes, I did a book in 1992 called Women in Calypso.
Okay.
And since that time, I have done 6 other books.
Okay.
One more on Women in Calypso, which is Women in Calypso Part 2, which I published in 2007. And then I did 3 books on Men in Calypso, called Calypsonians of Then to Now, Part 1, 2, and 3. They were published in 1995, 98, and 2008. And then I did a book on the history of the review tent, the Calypso review tent, which I published in 2012. And in 2014, I published a book called 100, The History of Vocal Recording Music in Trinidad. And I entitled 100 Years of Vocal Calypso Recording. I did that for Tuco in 2014.
So could we in Mova feel that you still have the heart and toot your horn as this well accomplished? I mean, some of your accomplishments I'm now knowing about, seeing that we were close when I was in Toronto, but you still have that connection. I know you don't live in Mova right now.
Well, I do the move. According to my church, I do the Mova thing every twice a month. Where I come to, I go to Chinapu, where I have some friends who are still there. I interact with them quite often on the phone. But I make twice a month I make a personal visit. So the Mova will not be ever out of my system. It's difficult now in the context that most of the people who I grew up with and who I knew have either died or migrated in Mova generally. But in Chinapu, although some of my friends have passed away or migrated, the families there, I am still familiar with them.
Okay.
So I can, I still maintain touch. As a matter of fact, I don't know how this may be, but I have never changed my electoral voting.
Oh, is that right?
I still vote in Chinapu.
Okay. All right.
So,
that says it all there, right there.
Well, I've never changed that. I've been here since 81. I came back in 81, so I've been up to last election. I was in Chinapu in the morning.
Okay.
Then my vote. So that Chinapu and Mova will always remain close to me and important to me because I've learned a lot from my early experiences in Chinapu and Mova. It taught me how to survive, how to deal with challenges, interpersonal, how to deal with the concept of you being a minority, and I keep using that word all the time because, again, out of Chinapu, Mova people always feel you're a minority.
Yeah, I kind of felt there was a stigma there. Not me personally, but because I always grew up kind of different, but then I agree. It was a stigma there.
And that has to do with the fact that the Chinapu community had a lot of migrants. And as migrants, people from the smaller islands. And interesting enough, we have Chinese and Indians in Chinapu. As a matter of fact, you go to Chinapu in summer, a Chinese guy who owns a beehive in the house we used to live in, was this house, a great house.
Relative to Joel Chinapu?
Yes, and Chinapu is now the CEO at the Unit Trust Corporation. Okay. That family, so that maybe you can interview him too.
Yeah.
The Chinapu dynasty. And we had Indians, we had Chinese, we had the basic African elements, we had Shango, we had Fief, we had steel band, melodic steel band, we had football
melodic
teams.
All right.
We had football teams and upsetters. We had.
I think the best that came out of Chinapu. I'm not aware of the Everton, but I was with Hotspot and these guys. That was upsetters, right? That was the engine.
Upsetters, Everton, Queensland. We had cricket. So we did everything. We played table tennis a lot by Vince Natter, Brooks. We had a guy from Chinapu who played for Trinidad in table tennis. And so we were culturally well endowed. Behind the school was our Queen's Park Oval.
Actually, I took a picture yesterday.
It's hard for any team to come up there and beat us. And if they beat us, well, then they had to run out of town. So.
Why is that? Let's get to that. Why is that?
Because of that loyalty and that sense of belonging, that sense of invincibility we had developed because of the way we were treated. So that especially when Mova team comes to Chinapu and behind the schools. Now, we already feel that they already treat us as low class. And when it comes to win the game, we have got to retaliate.
I'll correct it all. You mean mover?
Mover?
Yeah, but I was not that thing.
You mean an individual?
Yeah. Right.
So that, and people even inherit that. For example, when we had melodic band, the guys, if they only way they will come to the band if they couldn't get into Ebonites or singing serenaders or those things.
Okay.
So it was like a rejected band, whereby they can't make the big bands in over. So then they'll come to practice in melodic.
Well, it's nice to get the real intricate part of this whole thing, and and then I'll get Anthony Street on.
And he will be a different era because he grew up was 20 years after me. So that he will give you a nice perspective of his experience.
Yeah.
And it may not be as severe again because I think at that time.
Evolution.
Sociology, society has changed. Black power has passed through. People had a different sense of unity.
Yeah.
The geography of the very space wasn't as intense.
Because even from aboard, in hearing the updates, to me, I got the feeling that they were the progressive ones, the Everton. It seemed, And once you have national players and stuff, it's progressive ones. So we got to get rid of that stigma. Hopefully, it dissipates. What do you think about the whole overall inactivity? And that's one of the reasons for this. Coming down here, I find Mover is still almost dormant in terms of activity.
I know for sure one of the key people was a guy called Jackie.
Right.
And he passed away about 5 years ago. And he used to show, I don't know if he's some bricks, but there's always night football, cricket, there's always some activity throughout the year that he managed to do it. With his demise, no one has taken up the match. But overall, I think in the north, not only Nova, but in the north of Trinidad, sport amongst the young black people is not as important as it used to be. And it is reflected, for example, in football. This last secondary school season at just ended. The first of 3 came in the league associates. And that was team first, St. Bernard's came second, and Presentation came third. The first team from north in Central Anthony, they came first. So there seems to be a shift whereby the people, the young blacks, and I'm saying black because the majority of people in football are black. The majority of black men in the northern area seem not so inclined, or maybe not as talented as they used to be in terms of football. Now there's an era when St. Benedict's ruled.
That's right.
But that was in the 60s. But that's a while. But since that time, that has never happened. Whereby you have the 3 top teams in the secondary school football league from South and this year. So that when you look at that, you look at a lot of in the last 20 years, a lot of the top North footballers in secondary school were from over, like Malik, Belmont, some from QRC. But even Malik is no longer.
It's in the second tier. I understand there's no team from over in the top tier.
You know, so it shows where, and again, when you link that with the crime situation, you can see an obvious connection. The inactivity in sport and the profound experiences in other non-sport activities. So people now engage in other non-sporting things. So that the sport has grown back. And it shows in the crime figures whereby a lot of the young boys in northern region of Trinidad who are incarcerated come from Bobo or Labrador. And a lot of them...
Is there statistics really to prove that? Because it's a stigma too, eh?
No, that's statistics. It's very clear where the crime situation is. It's very clear. There's more pockets. And the information is there. The statistics are there. When they go to the prisons, you can see it.
On the answer that phone in the kitchen somewhere.
When they go to the prison, you can see it in terms of the physical space and the food. So, and therefore it shows that in sports, for example, the athletic clubs, the football clubs that have occupied, the cricket clubs that occupy the young black men in northern Trinidad no longer exist in any meaningful way.
Wow. Well, we're looking at the big picture here because my whole focus was on the mover, but if there's a whole northern avalanche.
There's a northern avalanche. And again, it's in sports. QRC, for example, and CIC. They were top sporting teams. whether they were black, white boys in CIC or black boys in QRC.
Yeah.
Once it's one of those teams would have ruled the roost.
Yeah.
And in the last couple of years, St. Anthony's has taken up the mantle.
Yeah.
But again, as I said, just last year, even last year, even one thing. So it's not like a one-off thing. The southern team, South Central team, in young sporting activities, are dominated by them. Are dominated by the non-northern people.
You are aware that the move at the first community center in Trinidad, and are you aware that there's a new one?
Yes.
What do you think about that, and how would that help?
Well, I think again it's a different society, a different time. Young boys don't look good at doing any community center.
You don't think it would be valuable?
It would be valuable, but not I think should be the target market. The target market should be the 15-year-old to the 25-year-old. A community center, from my perception, unless they're going to have interactive things like computers, it's not going to serve the purpose. A 15-year-old is not going to leave his home, his computer, and go and plug up in a building whereby a lot of elderly people will be there.
So what about having tennis or like a library?
The young person in Trinidad, and particularly in North, is technologically based. The iPad, the iPhone, the computer. Unless the community center caters to the modern young person in technology, it's going to be a waste.
Okay.
It must encourage them to continue what they do on their own or at home in the center. Because if they go like the center, okay, for example, the center in Chinopy, when I go. During the day, we play table tennis. And we may have upsetters, we just have a meeting or so. But the majority of the time was occupied by the older guys who play dominoes and draft late night. And if on a Saturday night you want to play tennis, we couldn't get it. Because for them, that's their time, that's their thing. Alright, so that we almost felt unwanted in the community center, that was for us. And then the older women came and had women meetings. And so it didn't cater for a young person, young children. And I'm saying, if that same concept happens in the Mova Community Center, the new one, and there's not a direct, deliberate attempt at incorporating the young people, and I say the 15-year-old, even younger, whereby the things they do are available in the community center, it will be just be another space where we will use back in times parties or show, which is one off. I am talking about a community center which will have internet cafe, which will have where the games, the electronic games, where you can have somebody can go in a study room and work up on the internet and do their school work. So it has to be things that were different from 1960.
Okay.
So the space is, I have no problem with having space. How they utilize the space, how they compartmentalize the space, because all the things that happen in a building, whereby you have a section,
so they have plenty of room.
A Wi-Fi section, where a Wi-Fi section where the young people will most dominate. Then they have a section where people do handicraft, the more mature people do handicraft. All that is good. But if they go back to the old concept of community centers to have events that's like dancing, come over, you have the biggest dance. At Ebonites, playing, you know. I could recall my mother and them dressing up all the girls, Lena and all them, with them days used to wear some shoes, some plastic shoes with some high heels. But the feel that was it. And they're going to Mova Center, the dance with Ebonites and Dutchy Brothers, and that was like, so that. Now you remember Mac Feeble and they playing, Matthew being a very talented musician, playing the piano and just entertaining a lot of us linemen there in the center. And it was a place of refuge. But in 2015, going into 2020, you need a community center that is designed for young people. Otherwise it will be a waste of time.
Okay.
Totally designed.
Well, we have the president of the committee, and good thing that he hear you. This is informative to him. And,
because as I said, if you ask any young boy passing here, when the concept of a community center for them, number one, doesn't exist. Because they don't know what that is about.
That's right.
They have no idea.
They haven't been into one yet.
They don't know about it. So then you have to tell them, they will ask you, what happening there? What happened in the community center? well, we have meetings. You have to let them know that when they come to the center, if you want with your iPad and they're committing, you will hook up and link up.
If you don't have one, you might be able to utilize
one there. You have an internet cafe, you have a homework center. Because one of the things they want to do also is to improve the academic level of the youth in the area. A lot of the youth in the area have attended school but have not learned. And when you leave, you see, you find it in a challenging position. You go to a school system where you have not learned. You want to learn, but you do not want to access learning because you're embarrassed. You're ashamed. And therefore, you continue now in a life of doing things that are easily accessible to you. Working 10 days, working this, because you don't have to learn those things. Those are just physical things to do. And therefore, learning becomes to me a critical element in getting the young people out of crime. I'm not going to be a doctor or getting a degree.